Hey y'all, Flipper Fred here, and today I have kind of a fun one. I like collecting unique and interesting designs that, you don't see every day out on the market. And this Protec Magic 2, there was a Magic 1 version. They also call this the Protec Magic 2 Whiskers because of the designer. His name was Mike Whiskers Allen. This is a little bit different. If you look carefully, which I assume you're doing, there's no buttons, there's no bars, this is an automatic knife. You cannot pull that blade out. There's nothing on the back. That is why this is called the Magic Knife. This is awesome fun to hand to a friend, even a friend who knows about knives, and let them see if they can figure out how to open it. They will not in most cases. You're going to have to read the instructions to figure out how to get this one open. So anyhow, this one's really cool. Before we get started and dive into all the gory details, if you would please down below, hit that subscribe and notification bell. You'd really be helping me out. I sincerely do appreciate that. That is very helpful to me. If you need to bail early, throw your buddy Fred a thumbs up. That also is very helpful. If you want, give me a thumbs down. Just let me know what I did wrong. So I bought this knife on Temu. This is a knockoff. Probably should have started with that. I found this on Temu for $39.99. We're going to call that $40 even. Bought this back in the middle of August 2024, not that long ago. Within 2 days, these were all gone from the website. So I saw like 3 or 4 different listings from different sellers on Temu. And you finally said, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and pull the trigger on it. Because the design is so unique and interesting, I just want to have it in my collection. I'm not even sure I'll carry it, and I don't carry it that much. But within 2 days, all these were gone. So you can't find one of these on Temu anymore. However, you can find them on AliExpress. So if you do want to get one of these just to try it out for your own collection, I'll put a link down below where you can find it. And while I'm on that topic, can't tell you how many people I have talked to. There's a lot of people who say, oh, why do you review all these cheap knockoff knives? It's terrible for the industry. You've seen all those comments, right? I get a lot of that. However, I get just as many people who tell me, hey, I buy these because I can't afford to just lose $200 or $300 on a knife that I end up hating and doesn't work out well for me. And so I would rather spend 20 or 30 bucks on the knockoff, carry it for a little while, see if I like it and enjoy it. And if I do, then I'll go and buy the real one. I can't tell you how many people that the knockoffs have truly, honestly led to a real sale. There's all kinds of reasons why people pick these up, and it's not just because we hate America, So anyhow, before we get too deep in there, let's take a quick peek at the box. This knife, by the way, the real one is a $390 knife, so it's not coming in a cheap old little plastic box like this. You can see here we've got some Chinese writing on our box, so obvious where this came from. This is not one that somebody can likely get away with trying to trick or resell. It only came with a little bit of crummy plastic, but the inside also, interestingly enough, they have a promotion for Protec American knives. So how interesting is it that China goes and knocks off all these knives and then puts a brochure in there to help sell some of the real ones for them? At least, that was kind of nice. I guess that was courteous. However, the real box doesn't look anything like this because you're buying a $400 knife. You're getting a really cool box that is nothing like this. It's black and it's got 2 flip-up lids and it's like velvet lined. There's all kinds of coolness to that box. So anyhow, there you go. There's the box. Let's do some size comparisons. I know it's often difficult to get the size on these. So here's for our Benchmade people. We have our full-size Crooked River. I'm trying to line them up on the back side here. Full-size Crooked River, which is obviously the closest in comparison, but even still yet bigger than the Protec. The Bug Out, of course, is considerably smaller. If you're a Spyderco person, maybe you'll want to compare it to the Paramilitary 2 or the Para 3. You can see this is definitely much bigger than the Para 3, but even still bigger than the PM2 when you compare those things out. So it's still got a good ½ inch on the Para 2. So this is not a small knife. This is a pretty darn full-size knife. Let's take a peek at the specs real quick. I'll bring those up on the side of the screen. So you can see down the right-hand side, this knife basically meets the specs in most all dimensions. The full open length, the blade length, the closed length, the blade thickness. This is actually a pretty decently thin little blade, 0.13, that has potential to be slicey. It hasn't quite made it there yet, but we're definitely on our way. The handle thickness, just a hair over ½ an inch. Mine was just a hair over that. Definitely fills out the hand, doesn't feel too big at all in any way. They have multiple versions of this. So there is a version that doesn't have the painted blade, and in that one they have satin flats, which is interestingly often they'll do this the opposite way. But this one comes with satin flats and a stone-washed grind, which would be both the top swedge and the full grind. However, this one has obviously been painted. It is a saber ground, flat grind. It's not hollow ground or anything like that. The scales are aluminum. Very slick on this side. You can see mine comes with a carbon fiber inlay, which is also true to the original. They have one exactly like this. It looks exactly like this. This is not like real carbon fiber, though. This is more of a carbon fiber sticker. It's kind of glossy, so it doesn't really have much grip, although it's a little bit better than the aluminum. That aluminum is quite slick indeed. That would be one of your issues. If you had wet hands, this would be a little bit tough to hold on to potentially. The blade steel on the real version is 154 cm. This is clearly not. I'd be happy if this was even an 8CR13, which is not a bad steel and certainly par for the course for a lot of these knockoffs. I have no idea, honestly, what this steel is, and I haven't yet put it on the work sharp because I wanted to show y'all how sharp it came out of the box. Hint, it's not very. The weight is right dead on. I got, whatever, 3/100ths of an ounce. That's probably just scale measurement differences or a couple of pieces of dust. This is a backlock knife. So this is almost like the Buck 110 where you'd push down on this lock here and it lifts it up out of the tang of the blade. That is exactly how this one operates, just a little bit differently. We're going to take a deeper look. Ooh, look at that. It's got a sharp, pointy blade. Don't want to drop it on your hands. The price comes in at $390 for the real version, and that would be the carbon fiber inlay version. Again, I picked this one up for $40. Just wanted to give you one more dimension here because this has potential, hasn't quite reached it. Behind the edge here, I did measure with the calipers. It's about 18 thousandths, which is not phenomenal, but it definitely has potential. So we're going to talk about the sharpness of this thing in just a minute. All right, let's take a little bit of a closer look at some of the good, the bad, the ugly. Very plain in terms of not a lot going on. Got carbon fiber. You've got the pivot, which is kind of done nicely. They've got that little flowery gear type, carving around it. They have one back screw. On the back, it is equally just as plain, solid aluminum, no texturing to it, no anything like that. Just obviously a captive pivot screw, and they've done a good job of just blending that in with the rest of the knife. You've got a couple of screws on the pocket clip. Unfortunately, mine do not sit down very deep. On the real one, they do sit flush. It's obviously deep carry pocket clip. It's a very long pocket clip for this knife. The size it is, this thing could have been, about 2/3 as long as that and still been fine. The other problem I have with the pocket clip, you can see here, it's bent down. The tip is bent down. So I'm going to need to take a pair of pliers to that, but I didn't want to do all these adjustments before I showed you how it comes right out of the box. Because everything here is so smooth, it's definitely not going to tear up your pockets. It'll hold tightly enough. The spring is long enough. It's got some good spring to it, but not overly tight. I think once I bend that tip up, it's going to be great. This is a right-hand carry only. There is no way to put the clip on the other side for lefties. Once again, lefties are screwed. All right. The backspacer. I should also mention this because I like when they do this. I don't think anybody is going to be putting a lanyard on a knife this big, but just in case, they at least made these little cutouts. You can string a lanyard through the back there. The other thing I will point out in terms of fit and finish, you will see the back lock raises up above the scales, and that's on both sides. So I don't think that happens in the original. I would not be really happy if my $400 real knife stuck up in the back like that. So that's a little bit of a finish issue. It's very flush right here, but then as you get back towards this side, hopefully you can see that here, it's raised up above the scales. So that's a little bit on the downside there. However, let's talk about the blade for a minute. Again, I mentioned this is a backlock. Usually those are very strong. However, in this case, it is not. So you can see right there, it doesn't take much effort to break out of that. I'm going to see if I can do it light. So light taps, no. When you get to that force right there, it'll pop out of the back lock. So if you're going to get one of these, just beware of that. That's obviously a potentially a big issue. You should not for any reason be whacking this blade like that. You know, this is definitely not for batoning, certainly not this one, because it's just going to break on you. But I wanted to at least bring that to your point. There's no real jimping anywhere on the blade or the back. The real one does have like horizontal, like parallel lines in here, and they say that's for a little bit of added texture. This one you can see is perfectly clear, but the real one does have a few lines right there. That's the only other thing that I can tell that's really not much in terms of the same. Obviously, the steel not going to be the same. You've got the designer and the model number there, as well as the blade steel. So a little bit of branding on there, that's fine, no big deal. Let's talk about the sharpness of this thing, because this was a pretty big issue for me. It came dull. So it will, that's actually better than it has been cutting. Maybe I just need to keep cutting more paper. It'll keep getting sharper. It's really, all right, so it's tearing the paper more than it is really cutting the paper. I know it is cutting through, but if you've used knives, you can see where that just doesn't want to go in there. Like, it's not very sharp. It's got potential. It's a little sharper towards the belly of the blade. It has the potential. So this sucker is going on the old professional work sharp precision adjust, and we're going to probably lay the angle back a little bit, turn this thing into a slicey beast. That's what I've been alluding to all along. I think the blade stock is thin enough that maybe with a 17, 18 degree on this front, this thing could be actually really nice. So got that going on. Ergonomics feels good in the hand. You can choke up a little bit right here. You know, if you really want to choke up, it is a very long blade, but you can certainly at least get that finger there if you really want to get up a little closer for detailed work. Obviously, in most cases, you're going to carry it this way. I'm a size large in gloves. Medium is just a hair too small, so I'm not an extra large, just a regular large. And there is tons of room. I mean, you could have just any size extra or double extra large. This is definitely going to still fit in the hand. Here's another thing that's kind of interesting about this. So let me see. I'll try to use the box as my line up here. If you kind of line the back up against that, the blade, you will notice, points downwards. So let me bring that into here and try to line it up maybe even closer. It's tough to get with the angle of this camera, giving a little bit of angle, but you can see if you carry it, that blade comes down. And why that makes a difference is if you're trying to cut something, the blade, instead of wanting to roll out of the belly, is really pushing into that material. And so it's actually an interesting and well-designed knife from that perspective. So that's a positive. Obviously do like that. Very neutral grip. You can choke up on it. You can do a reverse grip, no problem. You're probably not going to be too much pinch gripping it, although you certainly could. There's enough material there. Because the angle of that tip, even though it is a drop point, still comes downwards a little bit on the knife. It's not too bad to actually, if you had to do a draw cut, your hand's got to sit kind of way back here, and it's a long blade. But you could do that, and you don't have to, you know, bend up too high, your wrist up too high. It wouldn't be terribly uncomfortable. So let's talk about the overall impression of this thing. I love this because of the engineering, the design, the magic part. I don't even know, did I tell you what the magic is? We might have made it all the way to the end of this video. So the magic of this knife is that when you push your hand in, push the front scale this way and the back scale this way. So I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to push this with my thumb. That's what releases it. And you can see when you push down, you can see that back lock popping up. That is what's holding the blade right in here. There's a little piece that stabs down into the tang of the blade. That's what locks it into place to unlock it. So what you're doing really is using the butt of your hand to push it in. So I'm pulling with these fingers. You could do it on there, but I just keep it on the side of the actual scales there and just push in with the butt of your hand. And that opens that thing up. It pops it right up. And then you just do the same thing again to release it enough to close the knife. So there's the magic. There you go. You had to wait all this time just to get to the magic part. It's comfortable. It's not very sharp. It's super cool. The aluminum is definitely easy to scratch. You know, it's cheap painted. You may have already seen this. That's just a scratch from dropping it somewhere with the aluminum underneath. So, you know, it's a cheap knife. It's not very well painted. I don't know how much better the original is, but you know, painted aluminum will potentially scratch, especially if you drop it on hard stuff. Again, not very sharp, but for me, the joy of this knife is in the magic part. Giving it to friends, letting them look at it, letting them hold it, letting them try to figure out how in the heck do I get this thing open, and then you just pull it in your hand like that, and they still don't even know what you did. And then you just close it back up and hand it to them again, and they'll sit for another 10 minutes. How did you do that? That's the fun part of this knife. So there you go. There's the good, the bad, the ugly. Again, there's some links down below if you want to try to check one of these out for yourself. I'm not really a big proponent of, you know, recommending knockoff materials. I always say that, but I always get the comments anyhow. I must be communist. But it's a fun little knife, y'all. It is worth it. Yeehaw for that. Thanks so much for sticking with me the whole time. Again, if you would, down below, hit that notification and subscription, or let's hit the subscribe and notification. Give me a thumbs up if I did all right. Give me a thumbs down if I didn't do any good. And let me know why in the comments. I always try to do better. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me. I do appreciate y'all, and I will see you soon on the next video. Y'all take care.